First of all, starting off on the 4-day Bitcoin price chart, and at least as of right now, the super trend indicator is still sitting in the red, indicating a bearish signal. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, we still have this bearish crossover playing out in the weekly Bitcoin MACD, which is obviously a bearish signal telling us to not really expect a lot of bullish momentum. And if we're taking a look at this weekly Bitcoin chart, obviously we still have a massive bearish divergence to pay attention to, which is still currently active, as I've been saying basically every day over the last 2 months or so. And so obviously not much has changed on these larger timeframes over the last 1 day. So if you're new to the channel and you want to know more about these charts right here, then check out my last few videos here on the channel. So with that being said, getting into the daily Bitcoin price chart. And as of right now, we're currently retesting this 38.2% Fibonacci level, sitting at approximately 82,500. So especially around 82 to 83,000, we'll likely find some short-term support around there. But if we start breaking below around 82,500 and especially below 82,000, in that case, the next important support, at least based on the retracement levels here, is sitting at close to 76,000. And as for other support and resistance levels to watch out for, if we're taking a look at the 3-day Bitcoin price chart, obviously we have previous significant resistance becoming new support, sitting in between around 70,000 to 74,000. So if the price of Bitcoin actually makes it there, expect a lot of support within that lower 70K area. And if we're taking a look at the volume profile indicator, we have a lot of traded volume just under 70,000 and very close to 70,000, acting as major support at those price levels. And so once again, that does not guarantee the price is definitely going to go towards those prices. But what it does mean is that if we hit those prices, expect a lot of demand around that area on the price chart, a lot of buyers buying into Bitcoin around there. And if we're taking a look at resistance, we have a lot of resistance based on previous resistance here in the price, sitting in between around 86,000 to 88,000. And that's also based on a small spike in traded volume in the volume profile indicator, sitting at close towards around 86 to 87K. And we also have a lot of traded volume closer towards around 96,000, give or take, acting as major resistance. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, obviously, at least for now, we still have an active bullish divergence currently playing out here in the short term, as I've been saying basically every day for almost a week now. Obviously, for over half a week, we have been playing out this bullish divergence. And as always, a bullish divergence means we're basically due to see a break from all of the bearish momentum here. And we're likely going to see either a slight bullish relief or just some choppy sideways price action as the most common outcomes or most likely outcomes from a bullish divergence. And when we're talking about a bullish divergence on the daily time frame, it usually plays out over a couple of weeks or so before it starts to lose relevance. And so obviously we still have these significant bearish signals on the larger time frames that we cannot ignore, but at least in the somewhat shorter term for the coming days or the coming week, give or take, I do expect a continued relief, just a bit of a break from all of this bearish price action here in the shorter term. But if we're zooming further into the short term, taking a look at the 2-hour Bitcoin price chart, obviously as of right now, we do indeed have a potential rising wedge pattern that is currently forming with higher highs in the price and also higher lows in the price. But obviously we have converging support and resistance. And so in other words, the price is currently entering into a tightening range. And obviously at some point we'll have to break from within this pattern right here. And the line of support as of right now for this rising wedge is sitting at just above 81,000, getting close to 82,000, acting as support. And as for resistance, we have a lot of resistance at close to 85,000 and now just above 85,000. And as we could see here over the last 1 day, we continued that short-term rejection from this resistance at close to 85,000. And we also saw a bounce back towards the upside and another pretty much perfect rejection from very close to 85,000. So that's just simply further proving that as major resistance. And typically a rising wedge pattern is a bearish pattern because roughly 2/3 of the time a rising wedge breaks to the downside and around 1 times out of 3 it breaks out towards the upside. So it's statistically more likely to break towards the downside, but it is obviously possible, it's not impossible, to see a breakout towards the upside. That's just the less likely scenario. And in case you're wondering about the technical price target based on this price pattern right here, if for example we confirm candle closes below that line of support, so below around 81 to 82,000, in that case that would activate a short-term price target at the bottom of the wedge sitting at just above 78,000. And so I want to make this clear, at least as of right now, we have not yet confirmed that price target or a break towards the downside, because obviously we still need to actually see a confirmed break of either support or resistance. But if that actually confirms, if we confirm the break below the support, activating the bearish price target for the rising wedge, that would be approximately around a 3 to 4% move towards the downside. So obviously not a massive movement because we're only on the 2-hour time frame, but even a 4% move with, for example, a 10x leverage short position, that could be a 40% profit in that example. And so that's just an example of how we can actually make a decent profit even during a bearish movement from a price pattern like this. For example, obviously once we first confirm the price target, at least as of right now, that possible trading opportunity in this price pattern is not currently active. It's still just possibly forming. But if you want to get set up ready to go to take these trading opportunities in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally, I'm starting to take more of my trades at the moment over on 2bit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim some massive trading bonuses. And you can also claim a $30 sign up bonus and a 20% deposit rebate up to a max of 200 USDT. So if you deposit just $1,000, you get a $200 bonus onto your new account. And also, if you use the link below this video, you are automatically upgraded to VIP level 1 trading fees, which basically means you get a massive discount on trading fees. So lowered trading fees over on 2bit, but once again, only if you use that link. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, first link below this video. And in case you're wondering, 2bit is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want 2bit as an exchange, there's also Bitfinex as another exchange out there that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bitfinex below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it'll take you to the sign up page here where you can claim an exclusive 10% discount on trading fees. So massive lowered trading fees over on Bitfinex, but once again, only if you use that link. And in case you're wondering, Bitfinex is also a no KYC exchange as well. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map. And as of right now, we have a lot of liquidity building just below the current price, obviously to the downside here, mainly at around 71 to 72,000, and also a decent amount at around 74,000. So obviously over the last few days, this hasn't changed all that much. In fact, if anything, we've had more liquidity build at those levels. And in case you're new to all of this, what this actually means is if the price of Bitcoin hits those levels and breaks to the downside below those levels, that would wipe out a bunch of long positions. A lot of long positions would get liquidated. And so usually the larger players out there with a lot of money that can move the price around tend to move the price towards where there's a lot of liquidity. Not always, but that's usually what ends up happening. And we also have a decent amount of liquidity starting to build at around 100,000, but obviously between the current price and 100K, we still have a decent amount of resistance to watch out for that we cannot ignore. And most of the liquidity, remember, is just below the price in that lower 70K area. But with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the weekly time frame, and right now the price of ETH is obviously still looking bearish when it comes to the larger price structure. So not a lot has changed on this weekly time frame over the last one day. So getting straight into the 3-day Ethereum price chart. And as of recording this video, the price of ETH is still trading right around this 78.6% Fibonacci level of support, which is sitting at around 1870 to 1880. So basically in the high 1.8K range, just below 1.9K, we do have a decent amount of support around there. But if we actually fail to hold that as support and we start seeing confirmed breaks towards the downside here, for example, more candle closes actually confirming below around 1870, and especially if we flip that into new resistance like that, for example, seeing a rejection, in that case, the next significant support towards the downside would be sitting at just above 1.5K. And as I always say, expect similar price action for Ethereum as to what Bitcoin is doing. So if Bitcoin plays out a slight little relief, a break from the bearish price action, expect something similar for Ethereum, just a bit of a break from all of this extreme bearish price action, but not necessarily the end of the bearish price action, because ultimately, when we're taking a look at the bigger picture, we are currently forming significant bearish price structure. So yes, we can see some short-term bounces from support here and there, but don't necessarily expect a significant bullish trend reversal, at least anytime soon. We don't really have enough bullish catalysts to actually expect that. But with that being said, taking a look at the price of Solana on the weekly time frame, and right now, as of recording this video, the price of Solana is still testing this area of support, sitting in between 120 to 130. And of course, at least as of right now, we're still finding a lot of support within this area, as I've been talking about for weeks now on the channel. Obviously, since much higher prices, I said once we break below around 170, give or take, basically this line of support right here, that was the point to start targeting these much lower price targets, like for example $90, because that $90 price target would be the full technical price target, the complete price target for this rising wedge pattern right here. But I've been saying that expect a lot of support in between 120 to 130, so we'll likely see a bounce, and basically the price will likely pause around this area. And so far that is continuing to play out exactly as expected. But obviously, if we actually see a confirmed break below 120 with candle closes below that level, so basically if we fail to hold this as support, then expect a continued move down towards $90. But with that being said, taking a look at the daily time frame, technically speaking, this bullish divergence is still currently active. We've not yet confirmed any invalidation signal to actually invalidate the bullish divergence, at least not yet. But if we see, for example, a breakdown here in the RSI below this ascending line of support, and especially forming lower lows in the RSI, in that case, those will be invalidation signals to invalidate the bullish divergence. And let's just say if the price creates a new lower low below this previous low while the RSI is still forming higher lows, in that situation we'll just have to reconfirm a new bullish divergence. But at least for now, considering we've not yet confirmed any of those invalidation signals, that means the bullish divergence is still currently active, which means we should still be expecting at least some sort of break from all of the bearish price action here, either a slight bullish relief or just some choppy sideways price action as the most likely outcomes from a bullish divergence. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the price of XRP on this 3-day time frame, at least as of right now, we still have a massive bearish divergence, which is still currently active on this 3-day XRP chart. So this basically means we should not necessarily expect a significant amount of sustained bullish momentum towards the upside anytime soon. And of course, we can see the occasional short-term bounce from support levels and things like that. So I'm not saying no bullish price action at all, just don't necessarily expect a lot of momentum towards the upside like this, for example, at least anytime soon. But if we're taking a look at the shorter term, taking a look at the 8-hour time frame, at least for now, we're currently retesting this previous area of resistance to possibly flip it into new support again, and that's sitting in between around $2.25 to $2.30. And at least so far, as of recording this video, we are currently finding support around this area. So especially if we can now confirm a bounce from this area, that would be very good news, at least in the short term for the price of XRP, because of course that would be bullish price structure. Anytime we break out above resistance and then flip it into new support and bounce from that area, that's obviously price structure heading in the bullish direction. That would be very good news if we can simply bounce right now from this area. And in that case, I would expect a continued move, potentially all the way up towards this next significant resistance, which is starting at around $2.65 and going up towards around $2.80. But in the meantime, we also have a decent amount of resistance at close towards around $2.50. But if we actually fail this retest right here and instead we start seeing candle closes back below around $2.25, in that case, I'd expect a continued retracement back down towards this significant area of support sitting in between $1.95 to $2.05. And overall, the price of XRP is kind of within a bit of a larger sideways price range as of right now. As we can see right here, the price for multiple weeks has basically just been chopping around sideways within this larger sideways price range. So at least for now, that is still the situation in the somewhat shorter term for the price of XRP. And with that being said, if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, right now the price of Chainlink is technically still playing out this short-term bullish divergence, with higher lows technically still confirmed here in the RSI and lower lows confirmed in the Chainlink price action in the daily candle closes. So this means we're likely going to see a continued break or relief from all of the bearish price action, but not necessarily a bullish trend reversal, because obviously the larger trend, as I've been saying for months now on the channel, is still currently bearish for the price of Chainlink. And in order to expect an actual bullish trend reversal out of this larger bearish trend, obviously I'd like to see bullish trend reversal signals actually confirm, like for example, confirmed breakouts above significant resistance and actually holding those points of resistance as new support like that, for example, those are bullish trend reversal signals. And of course, if we form some sort of higher low in place, a significant higher low, that would also be a bullish trend reversal signal. But for now, considering we've not yet confirmed any of those bullish trend reversal signals, we're technically still within a larger bearish trend until confirmed otherwise, as I've been saying for months, since much higher prices. But of course, just in the immediate short term, for a number of days, maybe a week, give or take, expect a little bit of a break from the bearish trend just in the short term due to this bullish divergence. And as for support and resistance, we still have a lot of support at around 1270 to 1280 based on this 78.6% Fibonacci level of support. But if we actually break below that Fibonacci level, so basically invalidating this bullish divergence right here, then in that case, expect a continued move down towards $10 if we first break below this support. And as for resistance, we have a lot of resistance at roughly around $14.50 to $15, give or take, and significant resistance in between around $17.50 to $18. And remember, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, check out the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto for yourself, no matter what the price is doing, you can profit from bullish price action, bearish price action, or even when the price is just chopping around sideways by watching these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.